right, boys, huddle around. Now, you all got your heads down, because you know who is on top here. But what you gonna do? You can sit here looking pretty, or you can go out and do something about it. The chase isn't a sprint. How you finish is more important than how you start. Now, there are only 3 races left, and it's time to get into high gear. And to win in Texas, you gotta be fast. You gotta have that killer instinct, not afraid to lose, but willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chance.
What are you smiling at? Only by working together will you bring home the championship. You gotta get pumped up. You gotta be in peak physical condition. The championship, you gotta have heart. You gotta be tough, and you gotta want it more than the other guy. Be a leader, not a follower, and hit that open hole. So tape them up, tie them up, lace them up, strap them up, zip them up, start them up. Go out and get that trophy.
Texas is a state with a long, proud tradition of professional sports. And in the middle of it all stands the Texas Motor Speedway. The name Texas comes from an Indian word meaning friendly, but there is nothing friendly about one of the fastest joints in the West. The high banks and high speeds will put NASCAR's best to the test. There's a ton of money on the line here and a last chance for some of the chasers. Talladega may have wrapped it up for the 48 team, and several of his competitors wrecked out. So for now, Jimmie Johnson is in control, and it's race day in Texas. Let's take a look at the championship standings with 3 races to go. Jimmie Johnson has a 184-point lead over Mark Martin in this heavyweight title fight that we call the chase. This is round number 8, and Jimmie Johnson just may well have struck the knockout blow. Here are the guys with pride on the line and pretty much nothing else. Juan Pablo, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, and the Biff. On back in the championship field we go with 3 races. On tap, Ryan Newman, Casey Kane, Carl Edwards, Hamlin, and Vickers were chasers, but their hopes at a championship has long since faded in the distance. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the great state of Texas and the Texas Motor Speedway.
Where's everybody at?
I don't know, they're all here.
Where are they all at? I don't see anybody.
They're here on race day, Kennewallace.
Texas. Yes.
Yeah. Woo! Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, coming to you from one of the fastest tracks on the circuit, the last 500-miler of the season coming our way, and we are in for a wild show. Kenny Wallace, they pack them in here at Texas, and there's a good reason why. Place is fast.
Oh, it's a fast racetrack, but I've been waiting to do this. Earnhardt, baby, number 3. But that's not number 3. That's 3 races to go to decide who is the Sprint Cup champion. But I've got a problem with this number right now. This is the biggest race of the year. You ask why, Kenny Wallace? Why is this the biggest race of the year? Because this is why. If Jimmie Johnson comes out of this race with a 184-point lead, the lead he has right now, turn out the lights. The party's over. I'm going to tell you what, this is a big, big race because after this, Spence, I don't know if anybody has a shot at Jimmie Johnson.
I still don't think they have a shot at him because his average finish in the chase race here at Texas is 5.7. But you know what? There is a lot left of this chase. This thing is far from over. And the reason why we have Hendrick setting 1, 2, 3. Do you think Juan Pablo, do you think Tony Stewart wants to see Hendrick with 1, 2, 3? Hey, let's throw in, how about the 16 car? You know, how about the 11 car? He says, we're a lot better team than where we are in the points. He's not even on the stage as we speak. He has to get a shot at the stage. There's a lot of stories here, fans, not just about the 48, but bragging rights and saying, listen, I kicked your butt last year. No, you didn't. I still beat you in the chase. It's the guy keeps moving, moving, moving. Texas is going to be a big race. You're going to see a lot of speed today, a lot of moving in these points position. It still ain't over yet for me.
43 different cars on the racetrack today and 43 different agendas and goals for all these different drivers. For more from where the rubber meets the road, let's go down for our Shell Garage report and check in first with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Thanks, Johnny. I got my big studded belt buckle on, my big necklace, big hair. Everything's bigger in Texas, as the cliche goes. And so we're ready for 3 more races to the final ending of the 2009 season. Well, we leave Talladega, 7 of those chase drivers finished 19th or worse. But what about Jimmie Johnson? Well, folks, he was on the good end of that deal, because 22nd with just a few laps to go before that big one, Jimmie Johnson comes home 6th out of Talladega, a difference of 53 points in just a few laps for Jimmie Johnson. Now he comes into this race at Texas with the largest points lead ever in a chase. 184 points is a lead for Jimmie Johnson. Here's what he had to say.
Things are going well. Certainly happy with where we are in the points, but it's not really going to change what we do over the next few weeks. In my opinion, the only way strategy would come into play and being concerned about finishing in a certain spot would be in Homestead. So until then, we're going for maximum points every time we're on track.
Now, if Jimmie Johnson finishes an average of 10th in these final 3 races, he will clinch his 4th straight championship in a row. Unbelievable. But there is hope for the competition. The only hope is if Jimmie Johnson gets 3 straight DNFs. Now, it has happened in history. It happened back in 2004 with Jimmie Johnson. He had 3 consecutive DNFs back in 2004 due to engine failures. So there's still a chance that the guys can catch up to Jimmie Johnson. But man, the competition is getting tighter and tighter. Everyone beyond Jimmie Johnson. Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Wendy. And the 48 car definitely needs to be congratulated for sticking to a plan at Talladega and coming out with a good finish and strengthening their points position. Now, but the 24 of Jeff Gordon and the 5 of Mark Martin are not giving up. They've both won at this racetrack, and they both feel like they're still in striking distance. But listen to Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon. They know they got their work cut out for them.
Obviously, the performance of the 48 has been phenomenal, and we haven't, we gave it a good fight, but we haven't quite matched his performance, although we gave him a pretty good run. Still could happen. The race is still on for the top 6 positions, and we're going to race. I can't wait. I can't wait to get on the track here at Texas. It's going to be awesome.
We're focused on ending this season the best we possibly can. We've got 3 races left. And we want poles, we want wins. We want to get a lot of points and get ourselves as high up in the points as we possibly can for the championship, and also build something for next year.
It looked like through 400 miles at Talladega last week that this points race would really close the gap. But Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon both had accidents toward the end of the race. Mark Martin extended his, Jimmie Johnson extended his points lead, looking pretty good here going into Texas. Now, for some more news on Kyle Busch in the 18, let's go back over to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Hermie. Beyond the chase, there's a lot of guys still trying to get the job done here in 2009, one of them being 13th in points, Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch has done the unthinkable this weekend here at Texas. Let's look at his weekend so far. Well, he came with a win in the Truck Series. Great weekend for Kyle in the Truck Series. He went on the very next night and did it again. Victory lane style in the Nationwide Series, making him the first driver to win 4 in a row at a track since Jamie McMurray did so back in 2004. But Kyle Busch has been on a roll. Can he do it? Can he do the triple header? This is the second chance in the 2009 season that he will have. He did it back at California. Everybody was watching him come on Sunday morning to see if he can make it 3 in a row. Kyle Busch is going to try and do so today. Keep in mind, folks, he is a brand new crew chief. Taking over for Steve Addington is the Nationwide Joe Gibbs crew chief, Dave Rogers, coming over full-time for the rest of this season and 2010 and beyond. Dave Rogers over with Kyle Busch. We will hear from Dave Rogers later on in the show. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. And Wendy, what do we always tell the drivers and the teams when they say, if we're not in the chase, we don't get any exposure? How do you fix that? You win the race, just like Jamie McMurray did last weekend at Talladega, his first win of 2009. Jamie will join us on the show coming up a little later on today. Some big surprises this year that have not won. Carl Edwards, the 99 car, won numerous races last year. He has not won this year. Greg Biffle, his Roush Fenway teammate, has not won this year. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., big story this year. He has struggled. He also has not been to victory lane. My question to you guys, will we see another first-time winner that has not won yet in 2009 today, Jimmy? Could it happen?
I do believe we can. I mean, Carl Edwards has the most wins here at Texas. We know how close Junior's come this year. He's had no luck. Every time Junior's a factor in one of these races, Rudiman takes him out at New Hampshire. We go to Talladega. You know, he's a factor in winning that race, and Keselowski and him get hooked up together and beat him to the end there. Remember what happened there, but anyway. You know, Michigan. So many places he's been a factor. Let's talk about the Biff. The Biff is so close. And if anybody can drive a car as wild as anybody, it's the Biff. But we also got to look at Harvick, Burton, a bunch of these guys that haven't won. Yes, they can. Jeff Burton's won here twice. So, Kenny, you'll see they're not forgotten about this chase. They say, you know what, we still need to salvage our year, as McMurray did last week.
And race fans, I want you to remember this 2009 year, this word, history. History can be made. Why? There's so many situations. Can Jimmie Johnson win 4 championships? That would be history. The other one is this car right here, car number 18 of Kyle Busch. Race fans, if he wins this race, he will make, once again, history. I mean, this is a historic year, 2009. There are stories everywhere. And I'm going to tell you what, I hope Kyle Busch wins this race and makes history.
No one has ever done it before, and that's win the Truck Series, the Nationwide Series, and the Cup Series in one weekend, and Kyle Busch has a shot at it again. Coming up on NASCAR Race Day, we'll talk Texas. Talladega, the boss man comes to visit us, and could a big win mean big things for one driver in 2010? We'll find out.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit HomeDepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And brought to you in part by Orbitz. Visit Orbitz.com today and save.
We are expecting a huge crowd out here at the Texas Motor Speedway on a beautiful day for racing. Been a great weekend so far, and a great crowd has come out to join us for NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Jamie McMurray is the most recent winner on NASCAR's Sprint Cup Series, but he is also out of a job at the end of the year. He's one of a few guys who have won at NASCAR's 2 biggest tracks, and he's proven he can beat the best.
Jamie McMurray, a 26-year-old rookie from Joplin, Missouri, tries to pick up his first NASCAR Winston Cup win in only his second start. Driving the car that Sterling Marlin used to lead the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for most of the season, Marlin, the Nashville, Tennessee area veteran, injured in a hard crash at Kansas a couple of weeks ago, out for the season. McMurray took over the ride to get a little head start on his rookie training, and he could wind up with a victory today. Will McMurray make one mistake in traffic that costs him the race? Can the 2000 champion pounce and take advantage? Jamie McMurray trying to pull off the upset. Labonte's going to have to make a desperate move here. He rides into the corner deep. He'll do it. 26-year-old Jamie McMurray pulls off the victory in just his second NASCAR Winston Cup start. Unbelievable.
Waited a long time for this. I've got to thank everybody that got Jamie to where he's at, because Chip Ganassi gave him a great opportunity, and what an outfit they got.
The upset special of the year.
Gentlemen, start your
What a great finish this is going to be in the Pepsi 400. McMurray trying to win his first race in 5 years. Kyle Busch trying to win his second in 1 day.
But Jamie McMurray, right there, nobody giving an inch. Wheel to wheel the final time off turn number 4.
After 400 miles, it's going to be decided by inches. Here they come. They're crashing in the back of the pack. At the line, Jamie McMurray by inches wins it. McMurray by 5/1000ths of a second wins the Pepsi 400 at Daytona.
McMurray getting into the side of Kyle Busch, makes the move as several other cars crash. Coming off turn 4, McMurray is going to win the Pepsi 400.
What a finish, what a run for Jamie McMurray. The celebration is on.
Man, baby, you are a man. Great job, guys.
Well, Jamie McMurray, some exciting footage there for you. Telling a funny story, watching that footage from Daytona, he said you asked your crew chief coming off turn 4, how many laps left? He said, this is it, man, you got to get it done.
Yeah, I asked Larry when we came off, actually off turn 2, I was like, how many laps do we have left? I was trying to be calm, and And there was like a pause, and Larry's like, "Bud, this is it." He's like, "The next one to the start-finish line wins." So that's so exciting to run well at plate races. And you just never know how they're going to turn out. And certainly if the caution hadn't come out last weekend, you never know what would have happened. But fortunately for our team, it did.
And a lot of talk about your plans, for next year. We keep talking about it more and more. And I know you said earlier this week that the win didn't really affect or won't really affect what your plans are for 2010, but it can hurt. But at this point in time, anything you can tell us about next year?
No, not really any updates. Hopefully sometime around Phoenix we'll be able to say what we're going to do. But until then, it's just the same.
So you don't think that win last weekend add another comma to the contract, or no?
Well, I don't know about that. But certainly it didn't. I don't think it's going to change the outcome of where I'm going to end up at next season. But it certainly was good for this team and for Irwin and Crown Royal to get to victory lane. And I joked around with Eric Peagham from Irwin. I said, we need to run that Marathon Blades car every weekend. They put the flames on it, and it seems like every time we run it, we win. So that car's had a lot of luck.
Well, that's the good news. The bad news is you're only as good as your last race, which is coming up here at Texas. But this is a good track for you. How's your car?
Well, we ran third here, last fall, and had.
Yeah, I autographed your car for you.
Right, you did, didn't you? Yeah, you might have been my lucky charm at that point. And our car in the spring was actually really good. We broke an input shaft, the first one of 2 this year, in the transmission. And so we had a good car, and then Kenseth ran really well at Charlotte, and we actually started with a setup very close to Matt's setup from Charlotte. And our car's been good. It probably hasn't been as good as what it needs to be, but the fact that the sun is not out today and then we're going to race into the night, the track is going to change quite a bit, and hopefully Donnie and Derek can just make the right adjustments and keep up front.
And I want to go to Kenny Wallace on the set to get his input. Jamie McMurray, a big win for him, career win number 3. How do you think that'll help Jamie as he sorts out his plans for next year, Kenny?
Well, I have always thought Jamie McMurray is a good race car driver. But, I can do a better job acting, okay? And so I'm going to act for you. First of all, do you know what a turncoat is? Here's a turncoat. Well, I don't really like you very much because, you don't win a lot. Oh, Jamie, you just won the race. I really like you. Yeah, Jamie, you just won a race. Now we're going to hire you. That's a turncoat. In other words, it's sad, but it's true, race fans. He's won 3 Cup races. No, he's not Tony Stewart. No, he's not Jeff Gordon. But race fans, how can all 43 cars tie? 43 cars cannot tie. So this is a good race car driver who deserves a ride. And when he won the race, there's all this euphoria. Oh, the win will get him a new ride. That's stupid.
Well, it's such a what have you done for me lately thing going on in sports across the board right now.
Isn't that sad, though? Because
it is.
The kid's a good driver, Spence.
Well, it is. And he needed that win last week because he's had a terrible year, and he's just been faltering all the time lately. And naturally, Roush closes the deal down on him. So he's outside looking in. So that win definitely puts him at the top of the list of guys looking for a ride. No question, did not hurt him a bit.
Yep, didn't hurt him, and win always helps the morale around the shop as well, and hopefully they can go out there and get it accomplished again this weekend. We got to take a quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But when we come back, this number 18 team, well, winning for them is old hat, but they've made some changes. We're going to talk about 18 and Kyle Busch when we come back.
And welcome back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot here at Texas Motor Speedway, where we are getting you revved up for the start here at Texas on this lovely Sunday afternoon. Kyle Busch, who starts 5th today, comes into Texas with a brand new crew chief, Dave Rogers. And of course, Dave Rogers getting off to a great start this weekend in his relationship and communication with Kyle Busch. Dave, welcome full-time to the 18 car as the crew chief. How has the first couple of days gone with Kyle Busch on the radio and working out that communication?
No, everything's gone fantastic this week. Started back at the shop working with the 18 M&M's crew there, and then coming here to the racetrack working with Kyle. I couldn't ask for much better.
Now, a lot of people say, well, you were on the Joe Gibbs Racing side, on the Nationwide side, but you haven't worked with Kyle Busch that much on the Nationwide side. 3 races you worked with him, one of them a win at Mexico City, so you do have a win under your belt as a crew chief driver. But what's the biggest thing that you're looking for to try and work out and make sure that things go so smoothly when you came over here to the Cup side?
We just need to get on the same page. I need to know what Kyle's looking for out of these race cars, and communicate well with the guys back at the shop and make sure that over the off season we're working in a direction that is going to make us faster next year.
Now, you were talking about, before we started this interview, the start times and how low-key this Sunday morning is before the Cup race. How different is this for you from the Nationwide race day to a Cup race day, and how is it how are you approaching it differently? Because it is a very different kind of atmosphere.
It's very different. Fridays are hectic here, getting ready for qualifying. And Sundays are kind of laid back. You have all the time in the world. That's the exact opposite in the Nationwide Series. You know, over there with the in-pound races, you only have 3 hours between when practice ends to when you got to be in line. So you just got to change your schedule. I got a good cat nap in yesterday afternoon, so it worked out well.
All right, well, welcome to the Cup side. Dave Rogers, 20 wins in the Nationwide Garage with Joe Gibbs Racing. Dave Rogers hoping to duplicate that, if not more, with Kyle Busch here on the Cup side. Kenny?
Well, I think this is a great move at this time of the season because when I first started working with Jimmy Spencer, people said, well, that's never going to work. So when me and Spence got, when me and Spence got together, I kind of did one of these deals. Let me check you out, buddy. That's what Dave Rogers and Kyle Busch are doing.
That was
now,
creepy.
That was creepy. I had to look at Spence. You know, Kenny Schrader said, man, I didn't think you two were going to work together, but you do. Let's get back on track, okay? Dale Earnhardt Jr. 3 weeks ago, he said in print, I read, he said, I need a dictator because I need somebody to tell me what I need. Junior knows what he needs, but you know what he meant? He wanted somebody like Tony Eury Sr. So, Spence, I think what we're seeing right now is we need to make sure that Kyle Busch gets what he wants. And right now, he's making the change. He's going to see if this is what he wants out of Dave Rogers. They got to find it out.
Well, you heard Dave Rogers say what they're doing is working together, trying to get the feedback from Kyle. This guy's got 20 nation wins, as Wendy has said, 5 different drivers. This guy can accept this feedback. His boss, Joe Gibbs, is one of the best at taking guys and winning Super Bowls with them, simply from the standpoint of coaching. And I think this is what Kyle Busch needs. I don't think Addington done that great a job of coaching Kyle Busch. I think he done a great job as far as the team and winning. They won some races, but they never could get the
They won 12.
They won some races, and they were
12.
a factor last year in the championship. But my point is they just could not get the handle for the car as it went on, and naturally Kyle Busch would get very disgruntled and not drive as hard. So I think Dave Rogers and him, this is definitely a good marriage, simply from the standpoint we've seen the success they've had in the Nationwide Series with this guy. I think him and Kyle, all I could say to you guys out there, look the hell out, the 18's back.
Yeah, well, also want to wish him the best of luck, and Steve Addington the best of luck, too. He's going to land someplace on his feet because he's the second most winning crew chief over the past couple of seasons. When we come back, we'll talk about a driver who's starting the same place he finished last time we raced here.
You know well this side of Jeff Gordon, the one that scores black and white. But what about the other side of this 4-time champ? The one that raises plenty of green. Wendy sits down and talks with NASCAR's top star about his off-track philanthropy.
We raise a lot of money through a lot of fun events, but it's really all about, you know, what we're doing for the organizations that really touch these children and the families.
The real deal is coming your way as NASCAR Race Day keeps keeping on.
Welcome back, everyone, to Texas. We've got a great crowd out here with us as we're ready for a great race this afternoon at the Great American Speedway. And things move fast here at Texas, but sometimes in NASCAR, things move faster than planned. Brad Keselowski will be making his debut for Penske Racing in the 12 car a little bit faster than he had expected because they wanted to move things up and get some experience under his belt. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, thank you, JR. Standing by with Brad. Thanks for joining us on race day. And I know you're excited to get in this 12 car. You didn't want to wait to 2010, so how's your first weekend going with these guys?
I was just starting, really starting. I thought practices went really well. Kind of didn't quite get the lap we wanted to in qualifying, but we've had a lot of fun in practice. Feel like we have some pretty decent speed. Think that we can move up through the field in the race.
Quick question. You've driven some Hendrick cars this year, jumping the Penske car. For the fans at home, anything that stood out as far as being different? Both quality equipment.
Yeah, they are both quality equipment and quality rides for sure. And I'm just very fortunate to have this 12 Penske Dodge ride. You know, I think there's a lot of things that stand out, but you know, it's just taking the time to really evaluate it and get these 3 races in before you really judge it for good or bad. Because you know, some of the things that are different are quite honestly at this point I feel like might even be better, and some of the things that are worse, then you know, I need a little more time to define them. So. You know, the key to our success moving forward is to keep the strengths and fix the weaknesses.
I was trying to get him to commit to which had more power, the Penske Dodge or the Hendrick Chevrolet, but we'll get that another time. One thing that wasn't funny, but it kind of ironic how it turned out. He wasn't your teammate yet, but last week at Talladega, you and Kurt Busch made some contact on the racetrack, And as chance would have it, you hop on the plane with him the next morning to go to Daytona for the tire test. What can you tell our fans about that plane ride? How was that conversation?
It was a little interesting. We had fun. I mean, Kurt's an awesome guy. He takes his racing to heart just like everyone else, like a good competitor should. And, you know, I'm sure he was upset with the end result at Talladega, which he has every right to be. But at the end, when we all had a chance to cool off and see what actually happened, you could clearly see that the 83 car got into the back of me and there was nothing I could do. And that I was trying to help Kurt. So, you know, at the end, I think Kurt saw that, and we're as good as ever. We spent a lot of time this week talking about our cars and a lot of time at the test talking about what we need to do, not only this week here at Texas, but just, you know, in the future to work together. So I think he's going to be an awesome teammate, he and Sam both.
And real quick before we let you go, what would you come out of here with today and you consider it a success?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say I feel like we have a top 15 car. If we could go out here to have a strong showing, top 15, and just bring back the car clean and in one shape and just get a good evaluation. Run a lot of laps, do a lot of pit stops, make a lot of adjustments. Hopefully we don't have to make a lot of adjustments, but if we do, learn a lot about what the adjustments do on these cars and just building for 2010.
A great opportunity for Brad Keselowski being with Penske, and a good hire for Penske to put this guy in their race car. I think he'll be a factor this weekend and moving into 2010, guys.
Hermie, thanks a lot. Of course, Brad Keselowski already has one win under his belt so far this season. Let's take a look at the 2010 lineup for Penske Racing South, or Penske Championship Racing in the 2010 season. It's Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Sam Hornish Jr. in the number 77. And Jimmy Spencer, has it been the teamwork that has been missing for Penske's NASCAR organization over the past couple of years?
Oh, I think so, Johnny. I think that lineup, to me, when I look at Sam Hornish, I go, holy cow, this guy to me is one of the fastest guys, just always gets in trouble, not of his own doing. But I think a lot of it is the way that Penske runs his organization. I still believe that he tries to run it like his IndyCar program. I think the management, the upper management, needs to take more control and make those drivers have team meetings, make those drivers get along. It's obviously that Brad said him and Kurt are talking and stuff and getting on the right wavelength. That's the most important thing that I've seen with the Hendrick organization. Mark Martin and Tony Stewart gets all this stuff from Hendrick, but yet they still share all this information. That's where I think Penske lacks. Think about this, fans. Rusty Wallace was the most successful driver for Penske in NASCAR. Still, they never won a championship. And Rusty's won some 50-some races. So to me, it's still lacking something, Kenny. At the end of the day, Penske upper management needs to take better control of this situation.
Spence, you said it right, and I'll just make it simple. The Penske cars have to handle better. They've got to get working on their bump stops, their shocks, their springs. Look, race fans, this is one of the greatest organizations in the history of Indy cars, and they have won a lot of races with Rusty Wallace. Since then, they've had troubles figuring out this car you see right here, the new car. They've got to get the handling better. They've got great drivers. And
when you look at this year, fans, that 2 car, I've not seen a car so dominant this year as I saw at Atlanta. What happened to them? And that's the point. They got to figure it out, man.
Yep, so a lot of work on the horizon for them, but if anybody can get it done, it's Penske. It's because they got the captain, Roger Penske, running the ship over there. When we come back, we're going to tell you who will start where and who's on the pole for this afternoon's race at Texas.
It was big, it was scary, and it was talked about everywhere. Kind of like seeing Spencer in the catering tent. Snacks! Snacks! But we're talking Dega, baby. One more time, the boys discuss last week's scary finish and ponder what's next. NASCAR Race Day stays full throttle.
There is the big prize, and perhaps Jimmie Johnson made the knockout punch last weekend in Talladega. He has a commanding lead for his 4th consecutive and unprecedented championship in the Sprint Cup Series. Let's take a look at qualifying. Kyle Busch qualified in the 5th spot, and he, of course, is going for that triple-header win this weekend.
Well, here's a guy, the last time this guy sat on a pole was in Infineon in 08. This was his 3rd second-place start. He'll be a factor in this Budweiser number 9 Dodge. Casey Kane starting 2nd. But how about this guy? Holy cow. Top 10 starts in the last 6 races here. 8.9 starting average here this year. Oh, I get stuttering. This guy's on his way to an unprecedented 4th Championship. Jimmie Johnson will start 12th today. Oh, man, exciting.
And ladies and gentlemen, from Batesville, Arkansas, qualifying 7th, Mark, the Kid Martin. Mark has stunned the nation this year and has the most poles. From Kannapolis, North Carolina, he qualifies 9th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And on the pole, from Vallejo, California, he drives a black SS with the navigation, Jeff Gordon, pole. Jeff Gordon on the pole. Woo!
Let's take a look at the Truck Series highlights, and there's some amazing numbers behind Kyle Busch this season. That is his 5th consecutive victory on the Truck Series in that number 51 Billy Ballou truck, and Kyle Busch takes the ceremonial bow.
Well, the key here, the Truck Series is good to have this guy. He brings a lot of excitement. But you know what, Johnny? It's all over for the crying. I believe Ron Hornaday has locked up his 4th truck championship.
Friday, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series powers into Phoenix, where Ron Hornaday is still haunted by the disastrous memories of last year as he sets his sight on a 4th career championship. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Phoenix, Friday at 7:30 Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there. Now let's take a look at the second prize of the weekend of the triple header, and that too was won by Kyle Busch. This is Kyle's 4th consecutive win at Texas in the Nationwide Series, his 8th win of the season. So now that makes 2 down and 1 to go, and this is a very familiar position. We see Kyle taking the bow.
And I want everybody to understand that Kyle Busch is outrunning Cup drivers like Carl Edwards and some of these other ones that are coming in from the Cup side. He is flat getting it done in the Nationwide Series.
Looks like the battle there is for 2nd and 3rd place between Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski, and what Kyle is accomplishing. Okay, so he didn't make the Sprint Cup chase. Well, you know what? He's kicking everybody's rear ends on those other 2 series.
Hey, Spence, one thing I'm noticing in the garage area is Kyle. You could tell Kyle Busch was a little upset for not making the chase. Now it seems like he's getting back to the comfortable Kyle Busch. His cars are starting to handle better.
Well, the big thing that I see with Kyle Busch is that this guy is just relentless and trying to win everything he's in. And it's obvious that the big prize is the Sprint Cup Championship. He's out of it this year, but I think Gibbs is doing the right thing, making these changes right now. He'll be a big factor. I think he'll be a factor in this race today, Johnny.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
We got to take another quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But when we come back to Texas, Hermie Sadler is going to show us one part of the race car, a safety feature that has done its job over and over again. We'll be back. Welcome back to Texas for the last 500-miler of the year, and perhaps right now the biggest thing in Texas is Jimmie Johnson's point lead. As we see the grid of cars getting ready to do battle with this racetrack, there is one word that describes it, and that is fast. Now there is one word that describes our friend Hermie Sadler, and that is handsome.
Yes, he was voted one of the 50 best-looking people in a NASCAR magazine.
Beautiful, most beautiful.
Let's go for a ride in the racetrack,
above
please.
60.
You
above
look good.
60.
The
You
50
look good,
over
Hermie.
50. You look good, man. Let's go around. Here we go. Up in the car with Carl. Drivers, take it away.
I'll tell you what, guys, you're talking speed. Here we are going into turn 1, right down here on the white line. Wham, right to the throttle. Very tricky corner here, Kenny, off to the very tricky.
Yeah, down the back straightaway, you will hit that wall off of turn 2 in a heartbeat. Down into turn 3, Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, these transitions into the corners are very harsh. Off 2, into 3, a lot of speed and a lot of bumps.
Right here is a trouble spot, fans. Look at the bump right there. Boom. That's how quick turn 4 comes up. You know, this is where Jeff Gordon hit the wall in the past, got hurt. I mean, so many guys, Kenny, so much speed there.
Here's the bump. Here's the bump. Ready? Oh, boom, right there. There is a bump right there that will make you wreck. Watch it on TV. That is a trouble spot, turn 2. Turn 1 and 2, the tough part of this racetrack.
But you know what I noticed yesterday and in the Truck Series race? The width of this racetrack, Kenny, Hermie, it's getting older, it's getting wider, and you're seeing 2 and 3 wide racing. And I think we'll see that today.
You know, that happens to us a lot, too. We get older and we get wider.
Yeah, no question.
Not wiser.
Speak for yourself.
Something else to keep an eye out from, if you notice on the inside of the back straightaway in turns 3 and 4, there's also an inside retaining wall. We saw a Nationwide car in qualifying hit the outside. To stay off the outside, hit the inside. So if you're getting a crash today, not a lot of room to get around it.
Well, you know, one thing about this racetrack, that's one of the few places the in-car camera really gives us a sense of the speed. And now let's take a look at this troublesome turn number 2.
Well, for some reason, this racetrack, everybody worries about 4. I worry about 2. And I'll tell you why, fans. I don't understand it as much, but they tried to get the banking right. but it seems to fall off, Kenny, as you exit turn 2. It seems like the banking gets too flat.
That wreck right there, race fans, caused Jeff Burton to not be in the nationwide race. That hurt him. Turn 2, what happens? Turn 2, you're in the corner like this, and then boom, it goes flat. So if you got a little bit of a push, when you get to the flat, you're like this. Bam, right into Spencer.
Ooh.
Now you hurt Spencer. He's going to miss a race.
All right.
Anyway, Bruton
I've
has
never hit a wall.
Yeah, Bruton has torn this place up twice and rebuilt it. What do you think, Hermie? Better for the improvements here?
Well, they're definitely making improvements. But you look at all the trouble these guys are having on the racetrack, on the bumps, and the transition off the corners. All these wrecks were single-car wrecks by yourself. Wait till you get 43 idiots out there trying to get to the front.
And Hermie, that shot we're showing right now, there is a tunnel underneath the racetrack right there, so the ground has settled.
Yes,
and there's a bump right here. It is. See right above the word Young, Spence. See that dark spot?
See, yeah, I definitely see it, and I know that you can see the grind marks. Definitely might be part of why they're getting upset, Hermie, like you say, off turn 2. That could be getting the car upset as they're exiting. That's the apex of the turn off turn 2.
And you guys know, when you got too much wheel in the car, if your car got a push and you hit that bump the wrong way, it can cause you some problems.
You know, and the thing is here, fans, about this racetrack, I date back to when Dale Jr. won this race. This racetrack's a lot of momentum. Not all horsepower, a lot of momentum. So you'll see these guys, big arcs into the corner, pick the throttle up as quick as you can. A lot of momentum here, Johnny.
Want to learn more about NASCAR's new race car? Simply go to speedtv.com and log on to the Advanced Auto Parts virtual cutaway car. One part of the car that you don't see but is quite important are the tethers that hold the hood and the deck lid in place. They are safety features that have done their job time and time again, and they're critical not only to the drivers but for the safety of the fans as well. And Hermie Sadler has gone down for our Advanced Auto Parts explanation down to our cutaway car. Hermie?
Well, thank you, JR. Look, we see crashes like we saw with Ryan Newman last week at Talladega. It's easy to get caught up in watching the dramatics of the whole crash, cars flipping, stuff going around everywhere. NASCAR has done one of the simplest things in the world, but it's really made a big difference, and that is tethers. These ropes on this race car, a lot of moving parts and pieces. The hood is tethered. Right here, the spindle, right front spindle, left front spindle tethered, deck lid in the back. When these cars get flipping and turning on the racetrack, we don't want these parts of the car to go up in the stands. So it doesn't sound like much, but this is a great innovation that they brought to NASCAR the last couple of years, and we've seen it not only with Ryan's wreck, with Carl Edwards' wreck, with David Ruderman's wreck here at Texas. These cars can take some violent, crashes, but the parts and pieces stay with the race car. That keeps the other drivers on the racetrack safe, but more importantly, keeps the fans safe in the grandstands, JR.
And that is one of the main concerns of NASCAR, to keep everybody safe at the racetrack, and that's certainly a huge innovation there with the tethers on the parts of the race car. Now, everybody was talking about Talladega all week long. When we come back, we'll look back at the race, exactly what happened, and where we can go in the future. Stay with us. Welcome back to Texas, everyone. Last weekend's Talladega race looked a lot like races the big track has hosted in the past. There were lots of unknowns going in and even more questions once it was time to leave.
Today, we will not allow doubling up, pushing, locked up, bump drafting, or whatever you call it in the turns.
It's a crapshoot when you go to Talladega because there's so many unknown factors that you don't have any control of when you come to this racetrack.
It's all about winning this week like any other week, but a win at Talladega, it's made many a career.
Got an opportunity to make something really special happen today. I think we've got a great race car. Have a little fun and enjoy the chaos here. Let's go get him, Jeremy. Be confident. You're the best out there, bud.
Green flag is in the air, and that arrow being stirred up at about 200 miles an hour.
Who leads the first time? Off turn number 4, it is Mark Martin by a car length.
14 still behind you with a 48. Them guys are sliding to the back here. You can see that.
My speed truck along here pretty good. I mean, I'm just running wide open.
I'm just holding it to the floor still. I haven't let up yet.
That was wild. I didn't even try to drop back like that. Just nobody wanted that inside lane. Kind of open to stay up there and lead a little bit.
Got a tire rub from getting bump drafted too hard.
There's the two.
Oh, here goes Kurt Busch.
Green flag pit stops were underway. Suddenly, Kurt Busch came off turn number 4 sideways.
Yeah, so we go back out, get caught up, and we'll pit again. Dummy again, like NASCAR said. They said, okay, y'all have done good. Now we need to see daylight between the bumpers and the corners.
Once again, they've fallen in the line, single file. After some breathtaking moves there for about 15 laps, suddenly it calms down again.
This would be a good time for y'all to take a snack break if y'all want to go to the concession stand or anything.
Nobody done nothing. Everybody just ride. Take your iPod with you?
They were smart. They'd just tell us there's 30 to go, and that'd be the end of it. And they'd get what they want at the end without having to screw around.
Here comes Jamie McMurray. He's getting a shove from Juan Pablo Montoya.
14 cars talking about going. Here was about 25 to go. A couple guys up ahead of them are starting to get antsy as well, so just be on guard here when they do start to split up. 5 more. Sub in front of you, can't make it on gas.
Save gas when you can. Save when you can. I need you to save a lot here if you can.
They're almost leaning on one another, bouncing off one another. Here comes Kane. Whoa, trouble further back. Ryan Newman up and over off the end of the back straightaway. On his roof, sliding up, pounding the safer barrier.
That's landed on top of me. I'm all right.
But bring it for pity. Got 7-4. Going to take a few laps here before to get that car flipped over. I don't want to take any chances of running out of fuel, man. I'll pull my way to finish the back, but we're not going to finish the back because we're running out of gas.
Jeff Gordon's DuPont Chevrolet has shut down. I'm out, dude. I'm out. We're going back and forth, man. It's going to be in the pickup. There's going to be at least a gallon in there.
And all these drivers peeling off guys to get fuel is really helping the 48 car.
When they do restart, Jamie McMurray looks like the man that they're going to be chasing.
That means I stay out, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I may kiss you when this is over, Chad.
It's going to be wild here because they're about 6 still on the bottom.
Give her hail. Green, white checker. Bring her home.
The green flag is waving. We are down to 2 laps to go.
Oh, trouble. Mark Martin got upside down, barrel rolled, got into the outside wall port, came back down on all 4 wheels.
Wreck behind you. Keep digging. Green, white checker. We win. Don't wreck him.
Jamie McMurray is going to be the winner here today. He was leading at the white flag when they came to the line.
That's awesome. Good job, Lauren.
That was spectacular.
I like it. I like it a lot. First time I ever turned over, boys. They're having a party down in the pits, Jamie. You just won a race at Talladega.
Definitely a wild race, and it was still a subject of conversation once we got here to the Texas Motor Speedway. Some drivers had concerns going into the race, others had concerns afterwards, and they voiced those concerns here at Texas on Friday.
Speed is a part of it. The faster you go, the more likely you are to take lift. An airplane takes off at 160 miles an hour. So there's, we're 40 miles an hour above that at times. So there's plenty of potential for a car to take lift, whether it's going forwards, backwards, or sideways. And we just have to take everything into consideration, and as drivers, as teams, as a sanctioning body, to control that situation.
We're a high-strung bunch, and we're out there running around at Talladega, frustrated as it is, as we are as drivers, and the situation that we're in. It's not NASCAR's fault. It's just a product of the environment we're all in. I was running 6th place, going down the back straightaway, coming to the white flag, and my car gets pushed on the hauler, wrecked, and in 30th place. It's tough going through all those emotions through the day.
80 or 99% of the day is out of your control. It's all scenarios and situations that are going on around you, not necessarily what you do with your car. So it doesn't really do anything because of what somebody else does. It's because you feel so bad because you don't have any more control over your own destiny.
When I finished 15 years ago, it was me, Earnhardt, Ernie, and one other car was in the lead drag. That's all. And no one complained that was a boring race. It was just Talladega. And no one said anything. And now we have 40 nose to tail, and that's a problem. So for me, I'm just a little confused about everything that I've read and listened to this week. Is kind of just, I just don't know what to say.
Now, also on Friday, NASCAR's Robin Pemberton took time out of his busy schedule to sit down with our Hermie Sadler and talk about plate racing and what's coming up in the future.
It's not every week that Mike Elton gets up and addresses the drivers in the drivers' meeting.
You will not be allowed to push someone, to bump draft them, or to shove them through the turns.
2 questions. One, what precipitated Mr. Hilton, doing that, and how do you think the reaction was amongst the drivers that close to the beginning of the race?
It was spurred on by a few of the drivers that came in and expressed concern that it was getting out of hand, the bumping in the corners, and we felt like the drivers handled themselves well in the race. We still felt like the race was highly competitive, and you'll notice that during the race, the drivers actually found a different way to draft and get momentum in the corners.
Early this year, NASCAR made some headlines with having what people have known to term as a town hall meeting to discuss issues. Is racing at Talladega or restrictor plate racing in general something that you guys would open up to that kind of a forum, or is this something that NASCAR needs to say, this is the way it is, and move forward?
We've been open a lot, and we've had different meetings about different things, and the town hall meeting was a general thing for all the competitors. But since then, we've met with some of the teams, not specifically about Talladega, but we've put together some small groups that get together about every 3 months. You know, the most important thing right now is to move forward, and in the off season here, we'll do some more tests on working on the liftoff speeds of the cars and things like that.
A week later, where do you guys stand on any direction as far as keeping the cars on the racetrack?
As you know, there's unique circumstances that surround every one of these accidents, whether it's a car-to-car hit like Carl had at Talladega. And I think when you look at Mark going over, that was a car-to-car contact, like Joey's was at Dover, you know, and McDowell here, he hit the wall and that car went over. I mean, everything's a little bit different. The Newman going over is something that was basically a car getting out of shape and then turning over by itself, and those are the things that we can narrow down and we go to work on.
Would NASCAR ever take the initiative of going to the racetrack and saying, we need to work on the racetrack, we can't fix it with the cars?
Talladega is a high-banked, high-speed racetrack. It lends itself to some of the greatest racing, if not in America, but in all the world. And I don't think there's a time or a place that we would ever consider knocking down the bank at Talladega.
Well, let's face the facts, guys. That was a very wild race. But as long as there's been plate racing for as many years as we can remember, we've gone to these tracks. There have been big wrecks, and there's been drivers mad about it afterwards. They've said, hey, this isn't racing. But I think what's different about this situation is the fact that Ryan's car took off like it did.
Well, it did, and NASCAR's in a tough spot as well as the drivers are. But my thoughts on this are short and sweet. NASCAR, the two most important things are safety and competition. But I think NASCAR's got to find a way to fix it with the cars. I don't think they need to be telling the drivers how to drive on the racetrack. That's the only. I hope they can fix it for safety and competition and do it with rules and regulations on the cars and not have to put lassos on the drivers.
And let me say this again, putting lassos on the drivers. Haven't we always said for at least the past couple of years, do not bump draft in turns at Daytona and Talladega?
You know what? I mean, I'm so loaded on what I have to say, I got to stop myself. But, you know, okay, for example, at Talladega, that very track, me and Earnhardt in 2000 when, you know, I pushed him. Okay, you did not, I'm going to repeat myself, in 2000, you did not push a driver into the corner because there was not that much downforce on him, and you knew you would spin him out. So this bump drafting in the corners, this is something new. I just want to say two things real quick. There's too much negative energy right now. And people say to me, oh, Kenny, you putting up for NASCAR all the time. Listen, I love this sport, man. This has made my life. I'm not putting up for nothing. I'm tired of the negative energy. We got to turn that around. Well, number one, hey, listen, y'all tweet and y'all do your Facebook like we all do, so it's my turn. I want the negative energy to stop, okay, number one. Two, the only thing I want out of NASCAR right now is when Ryan Newman's car took up, I want it to sit back down like it used to with the old spoiler. That's all I have to say.
Well, I think that, you know, you could stand here and make a whole show on it, but first of all, we have a lot different car than when you raced with Earnhardt. This car that we're racing now, to me, there's a problem with this car, and I think it needs to be addressed. And you heard Robin tell you, Hermie, and you know NASCAR is going to look at this and try to figure out how to stop these cars from getting on their roof. As far as Talladega being bulldozed over, fans, let me tell you something. If that ever happened, they couldn't pay you $20 to go to see that race, let alone you pay them $20 to watch it. It'd be the most boring race. You think California sucks? Talladega 3 times worse than California.
Now here's something that has changed for the good on NASCAR right now is the fact that they are open door. More open door than they ever have been, Hermie. And now right after that race, Ryan Newman went in to talk to John Darby and Robin Pemberton about what went on.
He did, and sometimes we're a victim of our own technology. One of the great things they said about this new car is, look, the front bumper and the rear bumpers match up. Boy, you can really hit somebody and not jack them up off the ground. Then we come to a racetrack and say, now we can't do that. I mean, so we've got to try to fix what we've got.
So where are the solutions?
But Hermie, you just said it right, you know. And I was sitting there Monday with Michael Waltrip, and Michael Waltrip had this, and Michael Waltrip's been big on this, fans, for a long time. He says eliminate the front and rear bumper on these cars at Daytona and Talladega. That will stop the bump drafting. Let me tell you something, fans. If you incorporate Michael Waltrip and Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart and Mark Martin, and you go in there and you have a powwow with those drivers and the crew chiefs, they'll figure it out quickly. If these suckers were racing lawnmowers, you would say, how the hell did they get a lawnmower to go that fast? That's how smart these guys are in this garage area. They will figure out a way to go fast. That's what you have to realize. These guys are smart people, Kenny, that they're racing against.
And my final thought, just for all of you fans that say how mean NASCAR is, Jeff Gordon came out in the media this week. He says, I was the one that went to NASCAR and said, hey, we shouldn't be bump drafting in the corners. Why? Because we never did it. It's something new.
Well, this subject will probably go on for quite some time. Next restrictor plate race, the Daytona 500 in 2010. And can't wait to get down there and see what goes on at Daytona. We got to take another quick break here. When we come back to NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, it is time for the ZZ Top.
She got legs. Oh, yeah.
Coming up, in April, he scored checkers here in Texas and scored a sweet hat and some big boots. We'll flash back to number 24's Big Texas First. Plus, Wendy sits down with a 4-time champ and talks causes near and dear to his heart. Lots more to come. NASCAR Race Day.
Welcome back, everybody. The Texas Motor Speedway just doesn't get much cooler than this. ZZ Top, the opening act for today's festivities, and then it's going to get fast and wild out on the racetrack today. Now, no doubt you have a little bit of leftover Halloween candy hanging around. Rutledge Wood has a ton at his place, but nonetheless, he came here to Texas, went out in search of NASCAR's most colorful fan for M&Ms.
This week on Race Day to find M&M's most colorful fan, we're coming inside the garage where the action is. Right turn, Ryan, I need some help. Who is this week's M&M most colorful fan?
Hermie, you know NASCAR fans come from a lot of different backgrounds. This week we found somebody that knows a little bit of something about speed, an astronaut, Doug Hurley.
Doug, welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. Not only an astronaut, but a NASCAR fan. They tell me you're a season ticket holder.
You bet. I love coming every year. Been coming since 2005, and it's just a great way to spend a weekend.
Well, if you're a NASCAR fan, give us a prediction on today's race.
Well, I'm kind of partial to the 20 team, so I've got to go with them.
Well, he's going for the 20 team today, and glad to have you here at the racetrack. M&M's most colorful fan, and by the way, M&M's, the first candy ever in space. Come visit us at a racetrack near you if you think you're M&M's most colorful fan.
And Hermie, my apologies for calling you Rutledge, or Rutledge, my apologies for calling Hermie you. Whatever. Anyway, next weekend on Speed, it's down to the final 2 races in the championship chase, and NASCAR heads west to Phoenix. From the garage to the track, nobody puts you in the middle of it all like Speed. Our coverage begins Friday at 11 Eastern with NASCAR Live, and also log on to M&M's NASCAR.com/most colorful fans to find out exactly what's going on with the M&M search for the most colorful fan. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, race fans, to the Texas Motor Speedway. We're just a little bit over an hour from the green flag here at Texas. And who better to go to for our Sunoco pit strategy of the week than a guy who has won here before, and that's crew chief Chad Knaus.
In the racing world, there's no such thing as cookie cutters, and that's what everybody seems to think when we come to these mile-and-a-half intermediate racetracks. I can tell you one thing, there's not one of them that's the same. Texas is a very, very fast racetrack, but the thing you have to realize is it's not near as smooth as what we have at Lowe's Motor Speedway, or even, for that matter, if you go to Chicago or Kansas, completely different. Those tracks are very smooth. Texas is very bumpy, and the speeds are way higher than what we have at those other racetracks. Now, when we come out here to the west, you have to realize there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration. The air density is a little bit different. The wind is a lot lot higher as we're racing this race around here. You can go about 55 laps on a Sunoco fuel run, and you're definitely going to see some people try to pull some tire strategy towards the end of this event to try to get that ever valuable track position. I can promise you one thing, being the last 500-mile race, there will be some engine attrition, and it will be an exciting event.
Chad, thanks a lot. You know, race fans, one of the truly positive things that happened over the last couple of seasons was some race teams, the fact that some race teams did some pretty wild things to stay afloat and keep people employed and keep race cars on the track. Richard Petty Motorsports is one of those teams that's had to make some moves, and as Wendy Venturini tells us now, they got to make some more moves this season to stay afloat. Wendy?
Yeah, they sure have, Johnny. Now, of course, that big switch last week with Elliott Sadler switching over to a Ford for the 1 week, and now A.J. Allmendinger will be running a Ford this week, and the remaining 2 other races for the 2009 season. We decided to catch up with Richard Petty, the king himself, to give us an update about this switch over to Ford. You raced Ford 40 years ago, 1969, ran a bunch of Fords and won a bunch of races. I'll get it out. How cool is it to return to Ford for you?
Well, you know, it's something different, okay? And then if you look back at the Richard Petty and Petty Enterprises, and then we went over and done another deal, and then we've done the deal with Richard Petty Motorsport. So we've been upside down for the last couple of years, and hopefully, you know, we had a chance to look at Ford, and right now they're pretty stable, hopefully, in the car market, and we said, okay, that's the way we need to go, because these are American-made deals and the whole deal. And so we had a chance to go back with Ford, and we're working on that and doing the 2 or 3 cars or 2 or 3 races. We're trying to get oriented to Ford, so when we go to Daytona, it's not 100% new to us. It's going to be a big change anyway, but trying to make the change all at one time. So we said, okay, if we can work our way into it, we're going to have some idea when we get to Daytona or get ready for next season, we'll have some idea of what we've got to work with.
Now, when I sat down with you about a year ago for The Real Deal, you were making that move from Level Cross to Mooresville, North Carolina. You told me then you had to roll with the changes. The sport was changing. It is changing every day, and you seem to keep rolling with the changes at Petty.
Well, I guess we're rolling down the hill, you know what I mean, with changes, and we're trying to make the right changes as we go along, because the economy's changing, the atmosphere's changing, society's changing. So, you know, we spent 60 years in Level Cross with the same society. So we said, okay, we got to get out in the real world. And this is just another one of the things that we think will make us stronger, not only this coming year, but in years to come. So even though I'm a pretty old guy, I still got a bunch of young guys that work for us, and we're trying to do a future deal for a lot of different people.
Right now, with 2010 right around the corner, it seems like, could you tell us the latest update with your teams? We know right now it's going to be the 3 cars for 2010, or what can you tell us here on race day?
Well, right now we're working on 4 cars, okay, and nothing is in concrete right now, so I'd be premature in really telling you really what's going on. I think I know, and I think on the other hand, I know what I'd like to see, okay, so somewhere in between we'll probably make it work.
All right, well, this week we hear from Richard Petty. Last week we heard from Richard Childress. One thing is for sure, the sport is evolving and changing, and these guys who have been around the sport since the beginning are changing along with it. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. And early today we talked about drivers trying to get their first victory of 2009. You would fit that mold, and you guys, if anything can go wrong, it has gone wrong for most of the season. But the last month and a half, the speed has been back in these race cars. Got to make you feel good.
Yeah, our Shell Pennzoil team has done a great job of getting our cars turned around and getting the speeds. We haven't had the luck to go along with the fast cars, but they've done a good job in making sure that the cars are running where they need to. So we'll just keep at it and go from there.
Now, I follow you on Twitter, and I've been earlier this week, you were in Vegas, and then you were in Houston playing some softball for Kevin Harvick Day. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Shell and all the people from Pennzoil put on a pretty cool event. We went to Vegas first and gave ride-alongs with all the Pennzoil folks, and then we went to Houston and played a softball game. It was my team against Childress's team, and we beat him. So we got to take home the softball trophy there. But it was pretty entertaining. I see they're showing me do a 360 in the batter's box there, but had one of my better days on the field. Luckily, I didn't look like a goofball out there.
Well, it's a good fun for a good cause. And let's talk about today, a very fast racetrack, and it's got some character to it too. And these cars can be a handful here at Texas. Has the 29 car.
Our car's been fairly good, and then you go out one time and you'll think it's fairly bad. But you know, I think that has a lot to do with the fall off in the tires, and you put cycles on the tires. It seems like you know, the car goes out and takes a couple laps for it to get going. So just have to wait and see. It's very hard to pass for whatever reason, and you know, we just got to figure out how to get some track position, and I think we have enough speed in our car to maintain track position if we ever get it.
Well, that's Kevin Harvick, JR. He is looking to get his first victory of 2009, but these guys have been steadily creeping back up on the competition. Should have won Atlanta. Got a similar car here today. We'll see if he can get it done.
Yeah, Hermie, you simply can't keep a good team down for long, so expect that 29 bunch for Richard Childress to pop back very soon. Now, guys, when it comes to manufacturer change in this day and age, there's kind of bad news and good news, I guess, for Richard Petty Motorsports. First of all, the bad news, you got to switch cars. Second of all, the good news, the cars are very similar, and also they inherit Yates horsepower with it.
Well, you said it best. They're very similar. The thing you have to look at, Johnny, is years ago, if you were to change Dodge to Ford or Ford to Chevy or whatever the manufacturer, man, you had some major changes to do because the bodies were way different. The roofs, the setback on the bodies, would you move the Ford body forward or aft? Now you can't do those things. This car, all it is a matter. That's what the one thing that's good about this car. You could just change some decals and some noses pieces on the front, and it's a different car. So to me, the transition from Dodge to Ford, not a big significant change.
And I want to talk about the motor as you're looking at the hood of this beautiful 44 Richard Petty lookalike. When you go to the motor department, you're saying, okay, Richard Petty is going to change from, you know, Dodge to Ford. Well, there might be different, you know, motor plates. In other words, when the motor gets bolted in, they might have to change those. You know, the distributor might be in the front instead of in the rear. Little small things like that. But look, these are great race teams. These employees are well crafted in their trade, and they could probably turn around, you know, a motor, remounting a motor in less than a day.
I also think, Kenny, that when we look at this change, I think Roush wants to find out what that 9 car, what Petty's doing, because they're having a lot of success with that 9 car, keeping it down on the ground. You saw him starting outside pole here today. You saw him win in Atlanta. I think there's a lot of things that Roush can pick up from the Petty camp and these Dodges, because I think that 9 Dodge right there today will be a factor in this race. And I think Roush's team is smart enough to say, what are we going to learn from this for next year?
Plus, Casey Kane is a real good-looking kid, and Ford wants a really good-looking driver.
What does that have to do with it, Kenny?
Kenny. Every once in a while, I just get up here on this stage, and my brain just goes like that.
It's
the
just like
caffeine.
he hit me in the shoulder. And
It's the caffeine.
Coming
up next, he's a 4-time champion, but it's what he does off the track that really makes him a true hero among some of the nation's children. We'll be back with The Real Deal in just a moment. Very few things have eluded Jeff Gordon in his illustrious NASCAR career, but winning at Texas was tough for the number 24 team. But last time we were here, a long streak came to an end.
The site of the Samsung 500. Still very early on in the season. Still a long way to go before we decide the 12 drivers who make the Sprint Cup chase for the championship. Jeff Gordon, a 47-race losing drought, plus he's never won here at Texas.
None of the past matters. Today's about today. Everybody take a deep breath. Let's get it going here. All right, man. Make sure them bait blowers are on, and I'm sure you don't need the air conditioning. It's nice and cool out.
David Rudiman on the pole here today at Texas, and the green flag is out.
Boost down to the center, and then when I pick the throttle up a little snug right there, doing fine. When y'all are all by yourself, you can beat him.
Appears early on, Jeff Gordon could be losing the handle or maybe just taking it easy.
I'm pushing when I land, but I can slide the back end around still. I tell you, that spot's pretty finicky. We can get it loose, we can get it tight, we can't get that spot good.
Right now, nobody able to challenge Greg Biffler.
I'm pretty good here. I hate to do much to it because I get out front, I'm going to be too loose.
Front 5 have all broken away.
We've been watching Jimmie Johnson really fall like a rock.
In evil right now. I mean, I don't know what happened that last run there. I don't understand why I got so loose.
Kyle Busch, he's trying to take an ill-handling car and move it toward the front. But he is dancing around in dangerous line traffic.
Give me the driver's name. There's Andretti.
What I thought.
Jeff Gordon has his foot in the floorboard, trying to hold off Carl Edwards.
Edwards closes to a car link. Carl Edwards to the inside of Gordon off the corner.
Nice job, bud. You on.
We got a smoker here along the front straightaway.
Drove a hell of a race. Picture you guys have been on, man. Let's finish it up strong. I don't know. I'm thinking 4 here. We'll swipe that grill when we come. We'll put 4 tires on it, bud. It's all you.
All right, the leaders are on pit road. Big pit stop. Last one of the day. For Carl Edwards, when in first, he'll restart this race in the 11th position.
gun, man. Nobody wants to give up track position. All right, that's that. Got nothing to say.
Green flag is back out. Getting a great restart is Jeff Gordon. All day long we said Jimmie Johnson, no chance, not a contender. Now he wants that second position.
Keenan on his ass, dude. Go get him. This is your shot.
Jeff Gordon trying to hold off Jimmie Johnson.
Nice and smooth. Keep searching around. I'll let you know if something changes. You're doing good.
Pop the champagne. Gordon wins for the first time at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yes, you guys got me a win in Texas. I love you. Woo!
And it's hard to believe that his one win came here in the spring at Texas, and now he's starting off to a great start to this weekend with a pole for Jeff Gordon. But the real victory and the real trophies for Jeff Gordon aren't necessarily in victory lane. It's his work off the track with the Jeff Gordon Foundation. Now they are celebrating 10 years in the making of the Jeff Gordon Foundation. They've done some wonderful things in our community and outside the racing community. For more on that, we headed to the Riley's Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana to catch up with Jeff Gordon. Here's this week's Real Deal. While Jeff Gordon might be one of the fiercest competitors on the track, for the past 10 years, the Jeff Gordon Foundation has been doing its part off the track to better the lives of children who battle chronic illness and disease.
I'm very proud and honored, that we've had 10 great years and done so much. We've raised a lot of money through a lot of fun events, but it's really all about, what we're doing for the organizations that really touch these children and the families. And so, I never expected when I started the foundation to be able to accomplish what we have. And I feel like we have so much more, ahead of us and to do. And that's what I'm really excited about is the future.
And the future is who Jeff touches most. On one of his many visits to Riley Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, our race day cameras were able to capture some of the magic.
How old are you?
I'm 16 months.
16 months? Wow.
The toughest and best part of my day is meeting the kids and the children. And it's just such an inspiration. I mean, to see what children are going through here, and the parents, and now being a parent, it's really tough to see and to watch, but to see the success stories.
Hope you get out of here real soon, okay? Good. That's great news.
To see them walk away, that's what it's all about. And unfortunately, I met a little boy today that success story hasn't worked out. He's, and it's so hard, to watch them go through that and to have a parent tell you that, we're waiting, for the end. And that's not something that sets well with anybody, but, I know that the doctors and staff, they don't take that lightly. They are challenged by that, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Who's this?
Do what you can to try to, be compassionate towards, whether it be them leaving the hospital and going and living a normal life and the time that they had here that is never going to be easy, or whether, their last days are going to be spent at the hospital. It's what can I do to maybe take their mind off of things a little bit? It inspires me to want to do more and want to be a part of it. And I wish I could do more days like this.
And while the hectic schedule of NASCAR takes up much of Jeff's time, giving back always puts things into perspective, especially since Jeff became a father himself.
It makes me appreciate every moment that I get to spend with Ella, because you just never really do know. And I mean, she's, bouncing all over the place, and it's just the greatest, thing in the world, but you got to keep it in check and balance it out. And, I want to do all I can to encourage and support and maybe make their day go a little bit better.
Good luck on being a race car driver, okay? It can happen. Yeah, no doubt about it. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
And as Jeff heads towards the final chapters of his tremendous racing career, his legacy off the track will carry on for many more years with his foundation.
We have the most incredible community of giving back, and that's exciting. And it's encouraged me to want to give back, and that's what's going to take me into the future after racing, you know, is what I've been able to do, and the people and the children I've been able to meet and touch and hopefully change some lives through the foundation. You know, that's what I'm excited about, you know, of being able to see that grow and those lives that we've been able to change.
And that trip to Riley's Children's Hospital was special for all of us involved, even Jeff Gordon being able to be there and see how it all works out. Parent or not, you really do take an appreciation for what those children go through, whether it's the Riley's Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana. He also has the Jeff Gordon Children's Hospital at Northeast Medical Center in Concord, North Carolina. Jeff Gordon has definitely done a lot with his success in NASCAR and carrying it over to the community. The Jeff Gordon Foundation, it's hard to believe it's been 10 years. They raised $2.5 million this year alone that they have pledged and donated for this season. And Johnny, as you know, you've done a lot of work for this foundation as well. It's very neat to see how these drivers, they have a successful career and they turn around and they give it back to our community.
Wendy, that's what makes a true champion. Congratulations to them. And we have more good news on the charity front coming your way on this edition of NASCAR Race Day here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're going to give away one seriously cool motorcycle when we come back. So we'll hold on just a second before we go away, because, guys, we got to talk a little bit more about Jeff Gordon and how a four-time champion could easily just disappear into the woodwork, but he spends a lot of time working really hard.
Well, what makes me feel real good is I remember when my daughter, Katrina, and my son were the size of his daughter, and he was playing with her. Time flies on, and you just got to thank the good Lord that you got healthy children. But for you parents out there that don't have healthy children, I'm so proud of Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Kyle Petty, doing what they're doing for the community, and I'm trying to be a part of it as much as I can, because it's near and dear to my heart. So, Jeff and all you guys, thank you for giving back to the community. It's pretty special.
You know, I love Jeff Gordon, always have. And I was on my Twitter page last night reminding some of the people that were being a little mean to say Kurt Busch or Kyle Busch and some of these drivers. And I said, you know, you don't really know these drivers, do you? And Jeff Gordon is one of those people, race fans, you have no idea some of these things that Jeff Gordon is doing. He's a sweetheart of a guy in Concord, North Carolina. He opens up a wing to a hospital, raises all this money. So, you know, what a great guy, and there's other great ones out there too, just like Jeff Gordon in our sport. So check it out and see what your driver gives to charity, because it's awesome.
All part of the positive side of professional sports. When we come back, we got that big motorcycle giveaway from Speedway Children's Charity, but also, you know, you're not eligible, Jimmy. You can't have it. But then we come back, we'll also have Fantasy Picks as well. That's still a big race. Only 3 races left in the 2009 season, and we find ourselves in Texas, home of some of the most impressive sporting venues anywhere. But in the center of it all is the Texas Motor Speedway. 1.5 miles of fast, high-banked asphalt, and one of the toughest tests on man and machine in the NASCAR world. Jimmie Johnson now has a 184-point lead in the chase, and that's the biggest lead ever since the chase format was brought about. Now, here are the 3 guys that are mathematically, but perhaps not realistically, eligible for this championship. Jimmie Johnson is perhaps struck a knockout blow in this heavyweight battle we call the chase for the Sprint Cup Championship. And right now, Kyle Petty is going to take a look at our Napa good stuff, see if anything can potentially knock off Jimmie Johnson.
All right. Everybody knows everything's bigger in Texas. If you've ever come across Interstate 10 or Interstate 20, you know it takes forever to get across the state of Texas. People in Texas actually believe, don't tell anybody, that this is its own country. They don't even consider it part of the United States. Texas is its own place. And let me tell you something. Texas may belong to Jimmie Johnson when this week is up. That's going to be the big story in Texas. I don't care. Jimmie starts this race with a lead that's not insurmountable, but it might be when we leave here. And the reason I say that is this. They're not going to beat themselves. He's got the best finishes here, got the best average finish. Hendricks runs good at this place. Chad and Jimmie run good at every place we go. So what makes Texas any bit different than any other place? Absolutely nothing. Now, if he goes out on the first lap, okay, I'll hedge my bet a little bit. Crown him when we get to the next race. But let me tell you something. Eddie Gossage is a great promoter. Texas Motor Speedway is a great place, and this place may steal the thunder from Homestead, because if he comes out of here with any kind of finish at all, game over. Champion Jimmie Johnson. That's the Napa good stuff.
You know, you're right, stealing the thunder, Kyle, but you know what? It's going to be hard. I agree with you. It's going to be hard for anybody to defeat this guy. He has, in the chase races, fans, 174-point average. That is a better average than second place in the chase. That's unheard of.
It is pretty tough to beat that. When we come back, we're going to put our money where our mouths are, but also we want to remind you that at 2:30 Eastern this afternoon, you can tune to your local ABC affiliate to catch the third to the final race in the 2009 Chase for the Championship. We'll be back to Texas in just a moment.
Next week, it's 2 and counting. And is this the day Jimmie locks up an unprecedented title? He's had success in the desert, but so have his top rivals. The Cup Show goes west, further west. Next week from Phoenix, AZ, NASCAR Race Day goes green at 12:30 Eastern. NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. Visit homedepot.com. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Anybody gonna make up ground? You better cowboy up down in Cowtown. Jamie McMurray won last week, but Jimmie Johnson's top 10 extends his lead. He's pulling away with 3 chases left, like a runaway train in the wild, wild west. Hey, hey, it's race day, stars and stripes and high octane. Hallelujah, bow your heads and pray. RVs, crew chiefs, every fan upon your seat. I love it when I see that black man wave. Bring your race, race day.
It is race day. Now, just a few moments ago, Speedway Children's Charities pulled a name out of a drawing for a bike that was custom designed by Jeff Clark and his group. It was designed, the paint scheme was designed by Sam Bass. And there you see Speed Girl Heather holding up the important car. Look at that. No, it's not going to be Jimmy Spencer. They raised over $150,000. And the lucky winner right here is not Jimmy Spencer, but it is Alan Borst from Toms River, New Jersey. Alan Borst from Toms River, New Jersey. Congratulations, you won the bike, and great job, Speedway Children's Charity, for putting on that promotion that they do every year here at Texas. Now, it is time to put our money where our collective mouths are. This thing is still a race, and it's going all the way down to Homestead. Kenna Wallace is leading Johnny TV here in the NASCAR Race Day Fantasy Championship by 29. No, you're not. You're out of it. Mathematically, you're done. But Kenna Wallace, you get to go first.
Race fans, I'm hoping for history. Kyle Busch is going to win 3 in a row here this week. Johnny TV, who are you picking?
I am going with the number 99 team because I said it before today and I'll say it again. You simply cannot keep a good driver and a good team down for long. Roush Fenway Ford will get into victory lane with cousin Carl Edwards as the pilot. Wendy Venturini.
Well, thanks, Johnny. Jimmie Johnson has finished first or second in 3 of the last 4 races here at Texas. I think he's going to get the job done again. And because you guys can't pick them that are first and second in points, I'm going to take advantage of that, try to gain some points before we head over to Phoenix. Hermie.
2 points, Wendy. You're 2 points ahead of me. I'm going to get those points back today with who? Mark the Kid Martin from Batesville, Arkansas. He didn't like his car that much in happy hour, but that's when this team is at their best. Look for Mark to make his way to the front and win today at Texas.
I've been playing with you guys all year long. 8 different teams have won at this racetrack. There's one team that hasn't won here yet. Excuse me.
Are you getting all choked
Penny
up?
Enterprises.
Cigar.
Casey Kane's going to smoke them today, baby. I like Casey. Look out today.
So Spencer went from ZZ Top to Joliet Jake and Elwood Blues. That's Chicago, anyway.
Spit it up, Spence.
Let's go. Well, Jimmy clears his throat. Let's go back inside to Wendy Venturini for some final thoughts.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Of course, the weekend earlier in the Nationwide Garage, Jeff Burton had a hard lick in that Nationwide Garage, and we do know he stepped out of that car thanks to Richard Childress making that call and suggesting Jeff Burton get out of the Nationwide car. Casey Mears got in, finished second yesterday. A great run for Casey Mears. Jeff Burton checked in with them today. He is feeling a lot better this afternoon. afternoon. He, of course, had a hard headache from that hit and that rigid seat and the hard foam that's in those seats. And when he hit the wall, had a massive headache that's gone away on race day, which is great news for Jeff Burton. He's feeling good and just wanted to send his appreciation to RC for making that call, for letting him rest on Saturday afternoon. Hermie?
Well, thank you, Wendy. Look at Jimmie Johnson's pit stall. Pit stall number 37. He didn't qualify up front. He doesn't get pit stall number 1. What makes his team great? Attention to detail. Why did they pick that spot? I'm gonna get my camera to pan around. Hey, down here, down a little bit. I'm on Joe Nemechek's pit stall, pit box. He's only got a 2-story box, not the 6-story box that Jimmie has. But why does he pick right in front of Joe Nemechek? It's because Joe is looking for sponsorship to run this entire race. He probably will not be around lap 200 or so. So what can Jimmie Johnson do? He can come in short pit in his pit box and get out quick and not be caught on pit road, making the best of a bad situation, taking a subpar qualifying run for Jimmie Johnson's standards of concern, and making the best of their pick on pit road. So he'll pit install 37 right in front of Joe Nemechek. We'll see if that plays a factor in today's race and how it may affect his chase for the championship. JR?
Hermie Sadler, thanks a lot. You know what? The sun is coming out here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and Kenny Wallace, that means for some changing track conditions.
And you know what? Chad Knaus and Zippy and all these great crew chiefs are going to have to make a decision now. Race fans, Spence, in the last 10 minutes, really hot.
The big thing, too, Kenny, this race, don't forget, $8 million purse fee.
What?
$8 million purse, $7,900,000 change. That's going to be a big story today. Don't underestimate Roush. Don't underestimate Casey Kane. Look out today, baby. We're going to see a heck of a race.
We want to thank ZZ Top and everybody here at the Texas Motor Speedway for making it a great race day so far. We are ready to strap in for 500 miles of lightning fast action. We'll see you tonight on Victory Lane.